What if the very moments in your life that threaten to break you are in fact the only moments that can make you unbreakable? In a world that desperately seeks comfort and flees from any sign of hardship, what if the greatest secret to a powerful life is understanding that pain is not a punishment for our weakness, but the necessary and unavoidable price for our strength? This is the great paradoxical truth of the Stoic warrior, and today we learn to pay that price with courage, with wisdom, and with purpose. Pain is the price of becoming unbreakable, compiled and published by Stoic Power. Lesson 1. Transforming pain into power. Imagine an ancient alchemist's workshop, a place of intense heat, mysterious processes, and profound transformation. On the workbench lies a heavy, dull, and seemingly worthless lump of lead. To the ordinary person, this lead is a symbol of all that is base and undesirable. It represents pain itself. It is a burden, a sign of impurity, an ugly weight, something to be hidden, discarded, or ignored as quickly as possible. The deep and often unspoken inner conflict for every human being is that we are all born with this lead. The unavoidable emotional and physical pain inherent to the human condition is our shared inheritance. Our natural, deeply ingrained instinct, reinforced by a comfort-seeking culture, is to flee from this pain. We numb it with distraction, we deny its existence through bravado, we try to bury it under frantic activity, or we curse it for its heavy presence in our lives. The painful and tragic problem with this approach is that an unexamined, untransformed pain becomes a slow-acting poison to the soul. It festers within us in the darkness of our neglect, making us bitter, resentful, fearful, and weak. We spend our lives running from it, but since this pain is an inescapable part of our own experience, we are only ever running from ourselves. This lifelong flight from our own inner reality is profoundly exhausting, and it prevents us from ever accessing the incredible hidden potential that lies dormant within the very heart of the pain itself. We are, in effect, carrying around the raw material for pure gold, but treating it like toxic waste, allowing its weight to crush us rather than learning how to unlock its value. The transformative solution is to make the courageous decision to stop running. It is to adopt the mindset of the master alchemist, to see pain not as a punishment to be endured or a monster to be fled, but as a raw, neutral, and incredibly potent energy. It is a fundamental raw material that can be consciously, patiently, and skillfully transformed into the shining, incorruptible gold of power, wisdom, and noble character. The core idea is a foundational principle of Stoic thought, one that radically re-empowers the individual. While pain is an inevitable part of life, suffering is optional. Suffering is the negative, often catastrophic story we tell ourselves about our pain. The pain itself, the raw sensation of loss, the sting of failure, the ache of hurt, is just a signal, like a red warning light on a dashboard. The suffering is the narrative we attach to that light. This light means the engine is going to explode. My journey is over, this is a catastrophe, and I can't handle it. The alchemical process is learning to skillfully separate the raw signal of pain from the story of suffering. When you can do this, you reclaim your power. You are no longer a passive victim of your pain. You are an active agent who can calmly read the signal and decide what to do with the information it provides. The benefit of this is that you fundamentally change your entire relationship with life's difficulties. You stop fearing pain and instead become curious about it. This liberates an immense amount of mental and emotional energy that was previously wasted on the futile acts of resistance, denial, suppression, and complaint. You become empowered to use all of your experiences, especially the most difficult ones, as fuel for your growth, rather than simply being consumed by them. The actionable step to begin this alchemical transformation is to practice pain as information. The next time you feel a significant wave of emotional pain, instead of immediately resisting it or distracting yourself, commit to a 5-minute reflective pause. Take out a journal and get curious, like a scientist examining a new phenomenon. Ask yourself these questions. 1. Without any story or judgment, what is the raw, physical sensation of this pain? Where exactly is it in my body? Is it hot, cold, sharp, dull, heavy, or light? Describe its texture. 2. If this feeling were a messenger, What information is it trying to give me? Is it telling me a personal boundary has been crossed? That I've lost something I truly value? That a belief I hold has been proven false? What is the objective data here? 3. What is one small, constructive, and virtuous action I can take in response to this information? Not to make the pain go away, but to act wisely based on the signal it is sending. This deliberate practice shifts you from a state of passive, emotional suffering to one of active, rational analysis. You are treating your pain not as an enemy combatant, but as a valuable, albeit uncomfortable, messenger. This is the first and most crucial step in learning to harness its energy instead of being consumed by it. I urge you to try this the very next time you feel wounded by life. Be the alchemist, not the victim. Find the crucial information hidden within the pain. Pain may be the raw material for our transformation, but to shape it, we first need to develop an inner strength capable of withstanding the heat of the forge. How do we cultivate this essential quality? Our next lesson is on the vital art of cultivating inner strength. Before we continue, please subscribe to the Stoic Power channel to join a community of modern alchemists dedicated to transforming their lives from the inside out. Lesson 2. Cultivating inner strength. Picture a dedicated weightlifter standing in a gym. She has spent years training her body. She now stands before a heavy barbell, a weight that represents a significant and formidable challenge. To grow stronger, to become more than she currently is, she knows she must lift this weight. The process itself is guaranteed to involve a form of pain, the tearing of muscle fibers, the strain on her system, the burning sensation of maximum exertion. She knows, with an unshakable certainty born of experience, that it is only through this painful voluntary struggle against resistance that her muscles will be forced to repair and grow back stronger, denser, and more capable than before. The inner conflict for many of us is that we want the result of inner strength. We admire resilience, we desire confidence, we crave fortitude, but we are deeply unwilling to endure the process that creates it. We want the strong muscle without ever stepping into the gym to lift the heavy weight. The painful problem is that our modern culture often promotes a life of ease, convenience, and comfort as the ultimate ideal. We are relentlessly taught to avoid struggle, to seek the path of least resistance, and to view difficulty, pain, and friction as signs that we are on the wrong path or that something is wrong with us. This makes us psychologically soft and fragile. We want to be strong, but we actively avoid the very resistance that is the sole and exclusive catalyst for building real strength. When a real-life heavy weight, a difficult but necessary project, a necessary confrontation, a demanding period of sacrifice, is placed before us, we crumble because we have no developed capacity for productive struggle. Our mental and emotional muscles have completely atrophied from a lifetime of choosing comfort. Our deep desire for a life without pain has made us incapable of building the strength we admire. The transformative solution is to completely and radically reframe your view of life's challenges, to see every single difficulty not as a burden to be avoided or a punishment to be lamented, but as a weight in the great gym of life, a precious and welcome opportunity to build the powerful muscles of your character. The core idea is a direct and practical application of the Stoic dichotomy of control to the concept of personal growth in character development. We do not always choose the weight that is placed on the bar before us, the specific hardships, challenges, and painful circumstances that life presents. That is external and often outside our control. But we always, 100% of the time, choose how we lift it. Our form, our effort, our attitude, our integrity, and the virtue we display during the lift, that is entirely and always within our control. Our inner strength, therefore, is not measured by the weight of the challenge itself, but by the quality and character of our effort in lifting it. From this perspective, a challenge becomes a gift. It is a rare and valuable opportunity to perform a virtuous lift and to force our character to grow stronger. The benefit of this mindset is that you stop seeing your life as a series of problems to be avoided, and you start seeing it as a series of training opportunities to be embraced. You no longer fear challenges. You may not like them in the moment, but you welcome them as a chance to practice your art, to test your mettle, and to build your strength. This removes the debilitating sense of victimhood and replaces it with the powerful, motivating identity of a mental athlete, a warrior of the soul. The actionable step to begin this training is to practice the daily lift. Each morning, identify one small, challenging, and important task that you have been avoiding out of laziness, procrastination, or fear. This is your weight for the day. It could be making a difficult phone call, tackling the hardest part of a project first thing, having an honest but uncomfortable conversation, or even just doing a workout when you feel tired. Then, commit to performing that lift with as much focus, excellence, and integrity as you can muster. The goal is not just to complete the task, but to do it well as a conscious form of character training. By consistently and deliberately doing hard things, especially when you don't feel like it, you are building the powerful muscle of your will. You are proving to yourself, day by day, through concrete action, that you are stronger than your own resistance, stronger than your desire for comfort. The small, voluntary pains of daily discipline will build a formidable strength that makes you capable of handling the large, involuntary pains of life's greatest hardships. I challenge you to identify your daily lift for tomorrow. Step up to the bar. Willingly embrace the productive pain of getting stronger. This inner strength is foundational. But how do we apply it when the hardship is not a single, manageable challenge, but a devastating event that seems to change the entire landscape of our lives? Our next lesson is on the art of embracing hardship for growth. If you are committed to building your inner strength, one lift at a time, please like this video as a signal of your dedication to the process. Lesson 3. Embracing hardship for growth. Imagine a vast, ancient, and seemingly perfect forest. It has stood for 1,000 years. One dry, hot summer day, a bolt of lightning strikes, and a massive forest fire ignites. From the ground, from the perspective of the small creatures who live there, the fire seems like an absolute and final catastrophe, a force of pure, indiscriminate, and evil destruction. It rages for weeks, turning ancient, towering trees to black ash and leaving behind a smoldering, seemingly lifeless landscape. This is how we often view the great hardships of our lives. A sudden job loss, a painful divorce, a major business failure, a frightening diagnosis. It feels like a purely destructive event that has burned our world, our identity, and our future to the very ground. The inner conflict is our inability to see beyond the immediate, overwhelming devastation of the fire. The painful problem with this short-term, ground-level perspective is that it traps us in a state of prolonged grief, bitterness, and hopeless despair. We see only what has been lost. We stand in the ashes of our former life and believe, with all our hearts, that nothing good will ever grow there again. We see the hardship only as a tragic ending, a brutal and unfair conclusion to our story. And this bleak perspective prevents us from participating in the powerful natural process of regrowth. We are so focused on the memory of the beautiful old forest that we fail to see the new green shoots of life beginning to push their way up through the nutrient-rich ashes at our very feet. The transformative solution is to adopt the long-term, patient, and wise perspective of nature itself. It is to understand that the forest fire, while brutally destructive in the short term, is also a necessary and powerful agent of renewal. It clears out the dead, decaying undergrowth, and the old trees that were blocking the sunlight. It returns vital nutrients to the soil. It creates the perfect, fertile conditions for a new, stronger, and more vibrant forest to grow in its place, one that is better adapted to the current environment. The core Stoic idea that encapsulates this profound perspective is the powerful phrase from the Emperor Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The hardship that seems to be blocking your path is your new path. The fire that seems to have destroyed your life is actually clearing the ground for a new, more authentic, and ultimately stronger life to begin. The Stoics taught that we should not just endure hardship with a stiff upper lip. We should learn to embrace it as a vital and necessary part of our journey, a powerful catalyst that forces us to grow in ways we never would have if we had been left in the comfort of our old-growth forest. The benefit of this mindset is that it allows you to find deep meaning and purpose in your most difficult and painful experiences. It transforms you from a passive victim of a tragedy into an active and willing participant in a powerful story of rebirth and growth. This perspective gives you the strength to navigate the most devastating losses with a sense of underlying hope and purpose. The actionable step to cultivate this perspective is to practice the growth from the ashes reflection. Take a past hardship that felt like a forest fire in your life. In your journal, reflect on and answer these powerful questions. 1. What dead or decaying undergrowth, such as bad habits, false beliefs, weak or unhealthy relationships, a career path I wasn't truly meant for, did this hardship necessarily and beneficially clear out of my life? 2. What new, stronger growth, a new skill, a deeper sense of empathy, a more authentic relationship, a new direction, was able to emerge from the ashes only because that old growth was cleared away? 3. How am I, in some tangible and specific way, a stronger, wiser, or more authentic person today, precisely because I endured that fire? This powerful reflective practice allows you to see the hidden necessity and the long-term benefit in your past suffering. It helps you understand that even your most painful experiences can serve your ultimate growth. I urge you to try this exercise with a past challenge. See the fire not just as a destroyer, but as a harsh but necessary purifier. Hardship brings not only external challenges, but also powerful internal ones. How do we conquer the intense emotional turmoil that rages within us during these fiery times? Our next lesson will focus on this crucial skill of emotional mastery. Please comment below and share one piece of new growth that has emerged from a past fire in your own life. Your story of resilience could offer immense hope to others in our community. Lesson 4. Conquering emotional turmoil. Imagine you are a warrior in the heat of a fierce battle. An enemy arrow strikes you hard in the arm. The initial wound is sharp, clean, and painful. This is the first arrow, the objective, unavoidable pain of the situation itself. Now imagine that in your shock, panic, and fury over being hit, you take a second arrow from your own quiver and angrily stab yourself in the leg, shouting, "I can't believe I was shot. This is a catastrophe. This is unfair." The battle is lost. This second, self-inflicted wound is far more damaging, far more poisonous, and far more likely to lead to your defeat than the first. The inner conflict we face during times of hardship is that we are constantly, habitually, and often unconsciously stabbing ourselves with this second arrow. The painful problem is that the initial pain of a difficult situation, the first arrow of a layoff, a rejection, a mistake, or a loss, is often manageable on its own. It is a clean wound that can be dealt with. What truly overwhelms us, what creates the state of emotional turmoil, is the secondary suffering we inflict upon ourselves in the aftermath. It is the second arrow of our own catastrophic thinking. My life is over. Our self-pity, why does this always happen to me? Our shame, I'm such a failure, and our anger at the perceived unfairness of it all. This emotional overreaction, this self-inflicted second wound, is what turns a manageable pain into an incapacitating one. We are ultimately defeated not by the initial blow from the enemy, but by our own uncontrolled emotional response to it. The transformative solution is to train ourselves, as a Stoic warrior would, to courageously and calmly endure the unavoidable first arrow while learning the profound discipline to never, ever stab ourselves with the second. The core idea is one of the most profound and practical insights in all of human philosophy, a principle shared by both Stoicism and Buddhism. It is the deep understanding that our emotions do not come directly from events, but from our judgments and our stories about those events. The first arrow is the external event. The second arrow is our internal judgment. The Stoics taught that by mastering our judgments, by refusing to assent to irrational and catastrophic interpretations of events, we can conquer our emotional turmoil. Even while the initial pain of the situation remains, we can learn to feel pain without adding the deadly poison of suffering. The benefit of this is that it makes you incredibly resilient and clear-headed in a crisis. You can navigate difficult situations with a steady heart because you are not being overwhelmed and blinded by a flood of self-generated negative emotion. You are dealing with the reality of the situation, not the horror movie you are projecting onto it. This allows you to conserve your precious energy for effective, rational, and problem-solving action. The actionable step is to practice the 2 darts analysis. The next time you find yourself in a state of emotional turmoil, pause. Take out your journal. Create 2 columns. In the first column, labeled First Dart, write down the objective, factual, painful event that occurred. Be as neutral and unemotional as a reporter. In the second column, labeled Second Dart, write down all the secondary emotional reactions, the catastrophic stories, and the harsh judgments you have added on top of it. For example, First Dart, my romantic partner ended our relationship. Second Dart, I'll be alone forever. I'm unlovable. This is the worst thing that could have happened. I can't survive this. By separating the 2 visually on the page, you can see with stark, undeniable clarity how much of your suffering is self-inflicted. The practice is then to consciously acknowledge and accept the real pain of the first dart. Yes, this hurts deeply, and I am sad about this loss, while making a firm, warrior-like commitment to stop stabbing yourself with the second. You can choose to replace the second dart story with a more rational, stoic one. This is painful, but I will endure it. This is an opportunity to practice my resilience. My worth is not dependent on another person's opinion of me. I challenge you to perform this powerful analysis the next time you feel emotionally overwhelmed. Refuse the second dart. Emotional turmoil is often rooted in our unexamined struggles. How can we learn to transform these very struggles into something valuable and wise? Our next lesson is on the art of turning struggles into wisdom. If you are ready to stop stabbing yourself with the second dart, please like this video. Lesson 5. Turning struggles into wisdom. Imagine an oyster living its quiet life at the bottom of the sea. One day, a sharp, irritating grain of sand, an unwelcome intruder, slips inside its shell. This grain of sand is a constant source of friction, discomfort, and agitation, a persistent daily struggle. The oyster has 2 fundamental options. It can do nothing, allowing the irritant to chafe and wound it indefinitely, living a life of perpetual, low-grade misery. Or it can begin a remarkable, mysterious, and alchemical process. It can begin to secrete a beautiful, iridescent, and resilient substance called nacre. It consciously chooses to coat the irritating grain of sand with this substance, layer by patient layer, over a long period of time. Eventually, this intentional and transformative process turns the very source of its struggle and irritation into a smooth, luminous, and incredibly valuable pearl. The inner conflict we face is what we choose to do with the irritating grains of sand in our own lives. Our daily struggles, our persistent challenges, our nagging frustrations, and our chronic difficulties. The painful problem is that most of us simply endure our struggles. We allow them to chafe and irritate our souls day after day. We complain about them. We resent their presence. We wish they would just go away, but we don't engage with them in a transformative way. We go through the struggle, but we fail to engage in the process that creates the pearl. This means that our suffering is for nothing. It is wasted pain. We carry the constant irritation of the sand for our entire lives without ever creating the beautiful wisdom it is capable of producing. The transformative solution is to decide to become the oyster. It is to learn the conscious, deliberate, and reflective practice of coating our daily struggles with the nacre of our attention and our reason, thereby transforming them from meaningless irritants into priceless pearls of wisdom and character. The core Stoic idea is that experience is not what happens to you. It is what you do with what happens to you. Simply living through a struggle, just as simply getting older, does not automatically make you wiser. Wisdom is not a passive byproduct of time. It is the result of an active, alchemical process of reflection. The struggle is the irritating grain of sand. Conscious reflection is the nacre that creates the pearl. The Stoics were masters of this process, constantly journaling and reflecting on their difficulties. from the loss of a child to a political betrayal to a simple headache, in order to extract every last drop of wisdom from them. The benefit of this practice is that it ensures that none of your pain is ever wasted. Every struggle, no matter how small or large, becomes a source of immense value in your life. It allows you to build a treasury of personal wisdom and self-knowledge that makes you more effective, more resilient, and more at peace. You become a person who literally profits from their setbacks and grows wiser from their wounds. The actionable step to begin this pearl formation is the weekly wisdom extraction practice. At the end of each week, perhaps on a Sunday evening, sit down with your journal and identify one significant struggle you faced during the week. It could be a conflict with a coworker, a difficult workout you almost skipped, a moment of strong temptation, or a frustrating project. Then answer this one powerful question. What is the single most valuable pearl of wisdom this irritating struggle has offered me? Write down the lesson in a clear, memorable, and powerful sentence. For example, this struggle with my project taught me the pearl of asking for help sooner rather than later. Or this conflict with my partner taught me the pearl of seeking to understand before seeking to be understood. By doing this every week, you are creating a powerful, lifelong habit of finding the value in your own difficulties. You are consciously building a beautiful necklace of pearls, a collection of hard-won practical wisdom that will guide you for the rest of your life. I urge you to begin this practice this Sunday. Look back on your week and find the pearl hidden inside the irritation. Creating pearls from our struggles requires the ability to persist through the initial discomfort. How do we develop the grit and the unyielding will to keep going when things are painful? Our next lesson is on the crucial skill of developing unyielding persistence. Please comment below and share one pearl of wisdom you have gained from a past struggle in your life. Lesson 6: Developing Unyielding Persistence. Picture a small but determined stream of water flowing over a vast, rugged landscape of hard, unyielding stone. The stone is immense, ancient, and powerful. The water seems weak, insignificant, and gentle in comparison. A single splash of water or even a year's worth of flow has no discernible effect on the stone. But the water has a secret, unstoppable weapon: unyielding, patient persistence. It never stops. It flows over the stone, day after day, year after year, century after century, with the same steady, gentle pressure. Over vast stretches of geological time, the gentle but relentless water carves a deep and magnificent canyon through the hardest rock, proving that patient persistence is a force more powerful and more transformative than any single monolithic obstacle. The inner conflict we face is that when we encounter the hard stone of a great challenge in our lives, the pain, difficulty, and apparent lack of progress make us want to quit. We lose our resolve when things get difficult, when the path is arduous, and when our goal seems impossibly far away. The painful problem is that we often misinterpret the pain of the struggle. We see it as a definitive stop sign, a signal from the universe that we are on the wrong path, that we don't have what it takes, or that our goal is impossible. This belief, this story we tell ourselves in a moment of weakness, is what allows us to give up on our most important and meaningful goals, in our careers, our health, our relationships, and our personal growth. We let the temporary pain of the effort convince us to abandon the permanent prize of achieving our purpose. We allow the hardness of the stone to defeat us because we forget the quiet, relentless power of the water. The transformative solution is to adopt the mindset of the water. It is to reframe pain not as a stop sign, but as simple, neutral feedback from the process, and to see persistence as the ultimate, non-negotiable expression of your commitment to your purpose. The core idea is the Stoic virtue of courage, which they often equated with the less glamorous but more practical virtues of endurance and perseverance. For the Stoics, persistence was not about stubborn, mindless, head-banging effort against an obstacle. It was the rational, disciplined, and wise decision to continue taking virtuous action, one step at a time, especially when you feel like quitting. It is the deep understanding that the obstacle is just an obstacle, It is not a final judgment on your worth or your path. It is simply the stone that your water must flow over, around, or through, one drop at a time. The benefit of cultivating this persistence is that you become, in a very real sense, unstoppable. You may be delayed, you may be diverted, you may have to change your course, but you are never ultimately defeated on the things that truly matter, because you simply do not quit. This builds a profound sense of self-reliance, personal power, and grit. You become a person who can be counted on, most importantly by yourself, to see things through to the end. The actionable step to develop this watery persistence is to use the just one more technique. When you are engaged in a difficult, long-term task and you feel the overwhelming urge to quit because of pain, fatigue, boredom, or frustration, make a simple but powerful deal with yourself. Before you allow yourself to stop, you must do just one more. If you're at the gym, do just one more repetition. If you are writing a report, write just one more sentence. If you are running, run to just one more lamppost. If you are about to give up on a difficult project for the day, commit to working on it with full focus for just one more minute. This simple technique is a powerful mental trick that breaks the hypnotic spell of the overwhelming feeling of "I can't go on." It does this by focusing your mind on a tiny, achievable, almost trivial next step, and what you will often find, miraculously, is that after you do just one more, you discover you have the strength to do another, and then another. You learn that your perceived limits are often just feelings, not facts. I challenge you to use this powerful technique this week in an area where you've been struggling to persist. When you feel the urge to quit, honor that feeling. But first, demand just one more from yourself. This is how you become the water that patiently wears away the stone. We have now gathered all the tools to transform pain and persist through any struggle. How do we integrate them all to achieve a truly unbreakable mind, a state of ultimate fortitude? Our final lesson is on achieving that state of mental fortitude. Please like this video if you are committed to being more persistent in your own life. Lesson 7. Achieving mental fortitude. Imagine the master warrior, his long and arduous training now complete. We have seen him as the alchemist turning lead to gold, the weightlifter building strength from resistance, the forester finding growth in the ashes, the captain navigating the storm, the oyster creating pearls from irritation, and the relentless stream carving canyons through stone. Now picture him standing on the battlefield of life, calm and ready, holding a great, magnificent, and shining shield. This shield is not made of wood or bronze. It has been forged over a lifetime from all of his experiences. Every pain he consciously transformed into power is a layer of tempered steel. Every hardship he embraced for growth has strengthened its core. Every emotional storm he conquered has polished its gleaming surface. Every struggle he turned into a pearl of wisdom has added to its intricate, beautiful design. Every act of persistence has hardened its edge. This shield is his mental fortitude, the final, integrated, and beautiful expression of all his training. The final inner conflict on this path is the tendency to see all the lessons we have learned as separate, disconnected techniques or life hacks, rather than as components of a single unified system for building a new kind of person. The painful problem with this fragmented view is that it's easy to forget to use the tools when you need them most. We might practice one technique but neglect the others, leaving a weak spot, a chink in our armor. Without a unifying philosophy, without a sense of identity as the warrior himself, our efforts remain scattered and less effective. We have all the pieces of the armor lying on the floor, but we fail to strap them together into a coherent, functional, and protective whole. The transformative solution is to consciously synthesize all the previous lessons into a single, cohesive identity, the identity of the unbreakable Stoic warrior, whose mental fortitude is not a tool he occasionally uses, but an expression of who he has become. The core idea is that true mental fortitude is the ultimate result of a life spent deliberately, courageously, and reflectively engaging with pain and hardship. It is the grand outcome of consistently transforming pain into power, embracing hardship as a catalyst for growth, conquering emotional turmoil, turning struggles into wisdom and persisting with unyielding virtue. It is the state of being unbreakable, not because you no longer feel pain or face adversity, but because you have learned, through deep and repeated practice, how to use all pain and all adversity as the very fuel for your strength and your growth. Your shield is strong not because it has never been struck, but precisely because it has been struck 1,000 times, and you have used every single blow to make it stronger, denser, and more resilient. The benefit of this is the achievement of the Stoic ideal, a life of profound peace, unshakable purpose, and quiet effectiveness. It is a life that is resilient to the inevitable blows of fate. You become a pillar of strength, a person whose calm confidence is not a facade or an act, but a deep, hard-earned, and authentic reality. The actionable step is to create and commit to a warrior's vow. This is a short, personal statement that you write down and review every single morning. It is a commitment to a way of life. It is the conscious act of donning your full armor for the day ahead. Your vow might be something like this. Today, I will face whatever comes with courage and reason. I will see challenges not as threats, but as my chosen training. I will not inflict a second arrow upon myself. I will treat pain as information and struggles as opportunities for wisdom. I will persist in my duties, one step at a time. This is the price of my strength, and I pay it willingly and gratefully. By reviewing this vow each morning, you are consciously integrating all these lessons into a single, powerful intention for your day. You are reminding yourself at the deepest level of the warrior you have chosen to become. This is the ultimate practice that turns theory into identity and scattered techniques into a unified way of being. I urge you to write your own warrior's vow this week. Let it be your guide, your promise, and the daily declaration of your unbreakable spirit. We have journeyed through the 7 great lessons of the Stoic warrior, learning to see pain not as a curse to be avoided, but as the sacred and unavoidable price of becoming unbreakable. From the alchemist's fire to the warrior's shield, this ancient path teaches us that our greatest strengths are forged in the very fires we once feared, and that our deepest wounds can become the source of our greatest wisdom and fortitude. Thank you for taking this time to learn how to transform your pain into power. If this video has served you on your journey, please like this video, comment with your greatest insight, and subscribe to the Stoic Power channel to continue your training in building an unconquerable mind and an unbreakable spirit.